Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For decades, we've sought to safeguard Americans' fundamental right to privacy with a series of fragmented sector-by-sector laws, and anyone with a smartphone, laptop, or tablet can tell you that we're not getting the job done. Data is a valuable commodity. Big tech and shadowy data brokers generate billions of dollars of revenue by collecting, using, and selling Americans' personal information, oftentimes without them even knowing the data is being collected and monetized. And without a comprehensive national privacy framework in place, the American people are powerless to stop this invasion of their privacy. As the privacy abuses mount, the American people are calling on Congress to act. 73% of adults believe that they have little or no control over their data. Nearly 90% of Americans are concerned about the social media platforms processing personal information about kids. For several years, this subcommittee has been tackling this challenge, and I believe we all want to put the American people back in control of their personal data, and I'm committed to continuing to work to finally enshrine robust privacy protections in law. This current draft of the American Privacy Rights Act, or APRA, was only released 36 hours ago. It's important that we give legislation of this significance and complexity time for review and feedback. At last month's legislative hearing, I advocated for crucial modifications to strengthen APRA. I called for specific protections for children and teens, including explicitly prohibiting targeted advertising to kids who often cannot distinguish between advertising and non-advertising content. I encouraged the chair to add a provision requiring companies to identify, assess, and mitigate privacy risks with respect to kids. I also advocated for cracking down on the shadowy world of data brokers by establishing a universal deletion mechanism, empowering consumers to direct all data brokers to delete their information in one fell swoop. I called for the discussion draft to ensure that artificial intelligence and personal data cannot be weaponized to deprive people of the equal opportunity to find housing, look for a job, or receive information about goods and services. And as I explained, the bill should reflect what we have learned about AI, particularly generative AI, since ADPPA moved through this committee 2 years ago. Now, data minimization must be the foundation of any privacy bill, as it limits the amount of personal information entities collect, possess, retain, or transfer to only what is necessary to provide the products and services requested by the consumer. So I'm pleased that strong data minimization requirements were in the initial APRA discussion draft, and encourage the chair to clarify that advertisements are not exempt from the data minimization requirement and that research that benefits the public is permitted. So I want to commend Chair Rogers for adding language that seeks to address several of these highest priorities. I'm actively reviewing the modified language to determine if my overarching policy goals have been met. But there's still more work to be done. We must ensure that APRA acknowledges that kids are uniquely susceptible to privacy harms and deserve tailored privacy protections. We need to work with stakeholders to make sure the definitions of targeted advertising and other types of advertising are right, and we are preventing abusive use and sharing of consumers' data for advertising purposes. It should also not remove the FCC's authority to preserve the reliability of our communications networks, promote competition, and protect consumers from illegal robocalls and other abuses. So great progress has been made at this point, but we're not there yet. I have no doubt that we can get this done. Together, Chair Rogers and Chair Schakowsky and Bilrakis and everyone on this committee have a strong track record of producing results for the American people. Nobody has a better record of reining in big tech. In the past month alone, we've had 2 bills signed into law, a bill requiring TikTok to divest from the Chinese Communist Party, and my legislation with Chair Rogers restricting the sale of Americans' data to foreign adversaries. So I look forward to hearing from my colleagues and stakeholders so we can make the changes necessary to get this discussion draft over the finish line, because it's long past time we give the American people back control of their personal data. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.